welcome back. Today we are discussing episode 21 of the Dicely campaign, Shifting Scales. The group has just finished with our magic contest, which, reminder, Elwyn and Gideon won. Draq and his brother Boz decide that they need to go off and send a letter to their family. The family hasn't heard from Boz in years, and Draq realizes that he also hasn't communicated home since he left either. They check out a couple spots, but they eventually make their way back to our best friends, the priests, and discover that the priests do have the ability to cast the sending spell. So Draq crafts a carefully worded 25-word message for the priest to send back home to his mother. Unfortunately, the reply comes back in Draconic, obviously, and the priest can't translate back to the brothers. But it sounds at least like the message got to her, and that's what's important. While Draq and Boz are off doing that, the rest of the group goes out and gets some lunch together. While we're out eating lunch, Elwyn admits to the group that the reason she was so surprised to see the book that Nell was awarded the other day is because Elwyn herself wrote that children's book. She discloses to the group that she writes children's literature under the pen name Niam Randolph, which was her father's name. So it's kind of a sweet moment, and again, I talk about this all the time, but Denny's just the coolest DM for constantly kind of bringing in little things like this. I fully expected that we could get through this whole campaign without this ever coming up. So very cool for Denny to just toss that in there like that. This is not the only interesting thing that happens during this lunch, though. While we're sitting here eating, a hawk all of a sudden flies through the air and lands on Azariah's shoulder, and the hawk speaks in Sylvan to the table. It speaks directly to Azariah, telling them to find the other druids and tell them to meet at the Tri-Moon Grove. With all the druids in one place together, they would be able to restore Azariah's magic. This message seems to have come directly from Archdruid Rulek himself. That was the druid that Renan was tasked to wake. It appears that Renan has completed his job, woken up his Archdruid, and now we need to go around and find all the other keepers to get them to wake up their Archdruids as well. Which I kind of don't feel like we are that close to accomplishing at all. We barely know what we're doing, and this Archdruid Rulek is like, hey, just go grab the other druids and come meet us at Tri-Moon Grove. No big deal, right? Sure. Anyways, Azariah is understandably shocked by this, and in a convenient turn of events, decides that they need to go think about it for a little bit, as Logan was not here to play Azariah today. The day continues on. We go partake in another competition. We're throwing daggers this time. Nell, Draq, and Elwyn end up in first, second, and third place, and it probably has nothing to do with the fact that Draq blessed us all first. Afterwards, Draq and Baz get the chance to catch up a little bit more, and Draq asks Baz a couple questions about what he's been doing since he's come out here. And Baz is very tight-lipped about what he's doing. He's on some sort of quest that has something to do with dragons, but other than that, he's really not telling Draq anything. He says it isn't time yet for him to know. And then Baz kind of turns the questioning around to Draq and starts to ask things like, why do you think people never leave Darrokarth, their hometown? He points out that their mother was obviously not particularly happy there, and yet she never left. And even the two of them, though they have left now, they had to receive blessings from the elders before they were allowed to go. Why do their elders want them to stay in Darrokarth so bad? All of this Darrokarth Vishtak talk has been very interesting in the last couple episodes, and I'm very interested to see where this is going. I'm starting to think that this is, a problem. But we continue on. We head back to the inn and we find out that Abe actually has been off today setting up appointments with our friends the priests. He's looking to have someone cast Greater Restoration on his soul gem. He thinks that this might allow him to sever the connection that he has with Malden and give him full control over his body. Despite the fact that we got a negative response when him and Draq cast the augury spell last episode, the episode before, Abe has decided to go through with it anyways, which I think is a super cool character choice, but good God, do I not know what that's gonna mean for Abe. The group convinces Abe that he should let us be there while this happens in case anything goes wrong, or even if it goes well, we want to be there for him to support him through this wild thing he's about to do. And we all go to bed stressed a little bit about what's gonna happen tomorrow morning at Abe's appointment, but ready to get our full night's sleep, to get that long rest in. Which, of course, doesn't happen. During the night, Abe has another one of his visions. He feels pulled northeast, and his vision shifts and changes. It feels like he's being flown across the countryside, and he lands in front of this signpost pointing left and right. He can't make out the words on the post, but his vision narrows into the base of it, and he sees this stone carving of a horse rearing up through the clouds. There's candles lit all around here, and it seems to be some kind of shrine. There's no real time to worry about this, though, because back in reality, back in Valambridge, bells start ringing across the city. We can hear shouting outside, and we're all woken up as one of the members of the Cleansing Breath mercenary runs into the inn looking for us. They tell us that their camp is being attacked, and we all rush out there to go help them. This is, of course, the group that Boz is a part of. So we rush out there, and originally we are met by these weird mud creatures and frog creatures. The dragon that the Cleansing Breath had caught before is still sedated on its cart, and that seems to be okay until we hear the flap of wings coming in from the distance. And a second young green dragonborn appears over the horizon and comes and lands in the camp. Now, the rest of this fight is kind of confusing for those of us who don't speak Draconic, Abe, Gideon, and Elowen. The dragon yells at the group that it's wanting to take this sedated dragon home with it. It turns out that they are mates. Boz is adamant that this dragon needs to be killed, but Draq insists that it is against their religion to kill dragons. Without really being able to understand what's happening in this fight, Nell convinces the rest of the group that we should stop fighting the dragon and just let it leave, which seemed like a decent plan at the time. The dragon had been ripping through these mercenaries and did a solid amount of damage to us in just a single dragon's breath as well. So the group backs down, and eventually they convince Boz to back off as well. So this dragon picks up its mate and flies off into the distance. The tone is somber at the end of this, but then Boz turns to Draq and really starts to lay into him. He is not happy that we let those dragons go. He furiously tells Draq that he is never coming home again and that Draq is not invited to come find him again, which Draq is obviously hurt and shocked and terrified by. They'd been having a lovely time together up until this moment. And I don't think it's super fair that Boz gets so angry at Draq about this, because Draq has asked at least twice now for Boz to explain what is going on to him. So I just really don't think it's super cool that Boz gets so upset at Draq for making choices without having all the information, because he didn't give the information. How are we supposed to make informed choices if we aren't informed? Anyways, other than that though, I do think I'm on Boz's side here. I think this will be a conversation for next week, because that is the end of the episode. We finish with a dragon fight. We all level up to level 6, which is a very exciting level for moi. Next session sounds like it's gonna be something. We're gonna pretty quickly jump straight into Abe getting this greater restoration cast on him. I do think we're gonna have some big party conversations about dragons. And it also sounds like the group is finally planning to leave Valambridge. So if you are interested in watching this unfold live in front of us, you can catch us on Twitch at twitch.tv/DicelyDND. We are going live next Sunday, February 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm pretty sure I got the date right that time. So that is all for this week, my friends. I hope you are staying happy, staying kind, and as always, remembering to play dicely. Goodbye!